last thing I want to talk about here is Joe Rogan. So this is something I found that he had said on a podcast a few days ago, that he admits he was censored by Spotify. This is something people have known for a long time.
Everyone's speculated.
Everyone's been saying it, but he's always denied it, and now he has openly said that he has been censored.
Yep.
So this first article here from Vice is just to get the timeline right. So this was when he first signed up. Apparently, employees in Spotify were very upset that he was transphobic, and therefore they didn't want him. And the CEO had to be like, shut up.
Yep.
Do the job I hired you for.
Joe Rogan, coming from like the MMA world, is very, very sensitive to, and he was Adam Ruins Everything. He amazingly annihilated him on that. Because Adam was like, "Well, I don't see the problem." No. And Joe was just like, "Well, it's this, and this, and oh my god, Fallon Fox." And by the end of it, Adam just looked like an uninformed moron. You know, Joe is very, very learned on this subject, I would say.
So they're saying here, some staff inside the company feel alienated by Spotify hosting a certain Joe Rogan experience and their episodes, according to copies of some of the questions presented to the meeting obtained by Motherboard. So they got in the internal memos. So they're saying here specific episodes they didn't like. And it's like, okay. And Spotify made a response to this in which they said, our diverse team of experts, of course you have to phrase it like this, reviewed the content in question and determines that it did not meet the criteria for removal from our platform. So they were officially not backing down. They gave the narrative of we're not censoring anything.
So officially, Alex Jones said nothing wrong.
So that's one thing. And then there's another article here in which Joe Rogan himself is apparently responding to this. And he says that they have literally said nothing to me about it. So he's saying Spotify never told him about this being a problem. And then we had him transferring over, and a bunch of episodes were missing, like a lot of episodes. This is a list of what is currently still missing.
Episode.
Yep, you're one of them. Gavin McGuinness, Sargon of Akkad, Alex Jones twice, Marley Yiannopoulos twice, I think Gavin McGuinness twice as well. Stefan Molyneux, he's not there.
Louis Theroux.
Yeah, you get some strange ones in there that you wouldn't expect.
Stephen Greer, the UFO guy.
It's like, okay.
That's weird.
But there were a lot more missing.
Joey Diaz, Jana.
There were like tons and tons of them missing, and now it's down to a smaller number. But they're still not transferred over.
Yeah, but a lot of these people, like, I mean, I don't think any of them should be removed, obviously. But like from a left-wing point of view, there are a lot of these people who aren't especially notorious.
No, but you have to wonder if they had said something about transgenderism, which is heresy.
But then Joe Rogan has got a much stronger view on transgenderism in sports than most people generally.
But he's also got the potential to make Spotify a lot of
money. But he's the one who's making the money, I suppose so.
So what's more important, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this upset a lot of people, including myself, who was kind of peeved. And so apparently Alex Jones spoke to Joe Rogan about this, and then he released this video of him talking to camera, explaining what had gone on, and this is his words. So he said that he wanted to keep his 100 favorite episodes on YouTube until he goes exclusive to Spotify, and then those 100 favorite would stay on YouTube, and because he thinks they would get more views, and that he was not being censored, and Alex Jones would be on further shows on Spotify, which
he was.
He was,
yeah.
So that's true. But the claim was that he wasn't being censored in not bringing those videos over.
Yeah. Now, I just want to say, Alex, that's obvious nonsense, because I'm well aware that my episode with Joe Rogan was definitely not one of his favourites. I was kind of embattled at the time, and it was on the day where I was supposed to be heading home, and so the whole thing was kind of rushed, but he wanted to get me on there before I got the plane, and I ended up missing it anyway in the end. And so but it was at the end of the VidCon debacle, so I'd basically been under attack by various left-wing activists who are a lot more famous than I am, and all of the institutions this was before like cancel culture had become a proper thing, but they were obviously looking at me like, what are we supposed to do about this? And I was being treated as the villain when I was the one who was being abused from the stage.
Yeah, I mean, this was after VidCon, immediately after?
Immediately after, yeah. So I wasn't exactly in the best headspace, right? And so I was quite combative with Joe, and I didn't know I was doing it at the time.
It wasn't about him, it was about the...
Yeah, it wasn't about him at all. No, it was me, because I was in a very unfamiliar environment in a foreign country with a lot bearing down on me, and I had I've got to catch a plane or I'm never going to get home, blah blah. And so there is no way I believe that my interview with Joe Rogan was one of his favorites. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorite interviews. It's not because of him.
So the question here is what was Alex told? I mean, did he speak to Joe and Joe...
He's friends with Joe, so
lied to him? Well, there's two scenarios. Either he had lied to him and then Alex has said this, and then Alex has saying something wrong, or is him trying to be friendly to Joe and saying, okay, I'll calm people down because I know you've got a lot of pressure on you for certain things.
I suspect that's the one.
But that's the thing. So this is Alex on the podcast afterwards, just to show that, he did go back on, and it was a great episode.
It really was, yeah.
And the press were seething about this. They were very upset. So there's BuzzFeed moaning endlessly, and they just showed a bunch of tweets in which
I like the way you frame them as the oppressed. The oppressed were busy moaning and trying to cancel him.
Yeah, and then the BBC also reported on this.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is Spotify defended this action that Alex Jones came on.
Let's just stop for a minute, pause on this. BBC, right? When you use a thumbnail like that, you are trying to dishonor and humiliate the person you're talking about. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting about Fox News and their thumbnails is their thumbnails, no matter who their guest is on or who the subject they're talking about, they never use these kind of thumbnails. They always actually use a fairly nice representation of the person. And I find that really bizarre because it's Fox News, and I would expect them to not do that. And it's annoying watching the BBC using a thumbnail that's designed to humiliate the man and degrade the man by just the impression of him doing the thing that Fox News is doing. It should be the other way around. BBC should have a generous thumbnail, and Fox News should be the ones with the ridiculous bulging eyes, Fox thumbnail.
But too bad. I mean, we live in the clown world where the partisan right-wing press look better than the state-funded centrists. So
Well, our thumbnail's quite comical, but he's a comedian, so I don't think it's unflattering.
So the statement from Spotify in response to Alex coming on the show was defensive, and they said, "We are not going to ban specific individuals from being guests on other people's shows." Good.
Yeah.
I mean,
a good start for
I look forward
a liberal
to
democracy.
You should be hosting his show as well, not just saying he can come on to other people's. Embarrassing. But the interesting part was YouTube said that they still host the interview, and they ban channels but not individual speakers.
Right.
And they gave a quote from Joe Rogan saying he fact-checked all of Alex Jones's claims in the interview, and all of them were true. And this is also backed up by YouTube, because they're saying we didn't delete it because it didn't break any of the TOS on misinformation. So YouTube is implicitly saying Alex Jones is correct. Everything he said in that interview is true. Okay.
Well, I mean,
alrighty then.
Where's the lie?
And then we get to the point which I wanted to do, which is just this video of him in this interview saying that actually those initial videos, they were censored. Spotify demanded those get taken down. So let's play the video.
Because I feel like there's too much corporate involvement. There's too much influence on content.
Anytime anything gets big enough,
right,
you're gonna get shit like that. There's gonna be strings attached.
Yeah, that's the criticism of me being on Spotify.
Yeah, how's that been? How's the move been?
They don't give a fuck, man.
They don't care what you do?
They haven't given me a hard time at all. There's a few episodes they didn't want on their platform that I was like, okay, I don't care. Uh-huh. But other than that, like in terms of what I do in the future, like the big test was having Alex Jones on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people
all right, let's see how this relationship really goes.
A lot of people are like, they're telling Joe Rogan what he can do, what he can't do. I'm like, they're not. And let's show you. Alex Jones and Tim Dillon was like one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done.
I love Tim.
To be fair,
I can't get over that. Like, he's saying, yes, those initial episodes were at the request of Spotify, but they're not interfering with my show because I'm allowed to have Alex Jones on.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong, specifically. If he can have and Alex Jones, he is right, is the proof of this. If he can have Alex Jones on a show afterwards...
It's proof that he has that freedom. But he does not have the freedom to put up certain podcasts that Spotify does.
Yeah, exactly. That then begs the question, well, why? Why does it matter if I have Alex Jones on after and it's okay and you're not going to tell me I can't do that? Why does it matter if these previous ones also then come over?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Alex Jones episodes are just the best episodes of anything I've ever watched. Like,
they're amazing.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to be...
So for entertainment value,
I don't know.
Crazy.
No, I'm just trying to get the point. I don't know what Joe agreed with Spotify. Maybe there's a piece of small print he didn't read or something like this.
Well, I mean,
but I can't get over how he seemed to have given out this narrative of there was no censorship. This is because of technical reasons or this and that.
Yeah, that wasn't true.
And then it's just obviously false. And he now admits that it was a complete lie. I'm just like, I don't like it because I really like the guy.
Yeah, you're a fan, aren't you?
I'm quite upset seeing him lie to. I'm part of his audience. Me. I didn't like it.
Understandable. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.